thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. Hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. And we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. So in today's episode, you're going to be reacting to the very trending topic of the President of United States wanting to end birthright citizenship, yeah? And this has caused a lot of controversy. Why? Because Latinos and apparently every other group thought that Black Americans were immigrants when it came to America and they could be deported back to wherever they thought they could be deported to.
Right. And guys, to be quite honest, even the both of us, before we started doing reaction videos, and this was last year, right? We also used to think that Black Americans were immigrants in America, because our thinking process back then was that if they were taken from the African continent as slaves, then our thinking process was that they settled in America.
Right.
It wasn't until we started doing Jamaican content and Black American content that we then learned that there is also Native American people.
Right. And guys, that is actually another very interesting point of view that we are going to be talking about in our commentaries after we play you these videos, yeah? For now, because a lot of Africans in the continent actually do think this, and we are going to be talking about that as well. For now, let's watch the videos we've compiled for you, yeah? And also, quite funny that Latinos voted for Trump because they thought immigration laws would affect majority
black people.
Exactly.
And right now, a lot of people are actually saying that actually the Latino community did this intentionally, because in workplaces it has been proven more often than not that most of them try to push out the Black Americans in order for them to take up Black American positions in the job industry, you know?
Right. Guys, we don't want to talk a lot. Just hold that thought. Let's watch what we've prepared for you, and then we come back and talk about it. We'll be coming back with our commentaries, right? Remember to subscribe if it's your first time here. Also, consider, let us know in the comment section your thoughts on this episode, right? Let's watch.
It is kind of jacked up to find out that, you know, people around the globe thought that African Americans were immigrants. That's pretty jacked up. Like, all this time y'all thought we were immigrants? I don't understand even why people would think that, because here you have the whole Caribbean, the whole South America, and then we have North America right here. And you would think that, okay, yeah, I mean, everybody else is cool. You know what I'm saying? Jamaicans are Jamaicans, you know, Haitians are Haitians, you know what I'm saying? Why on earth would people think that we are immigrants when we got over here before the founding of the country? Why in the world would people think that we're immigrants? African Americans, I mean. Okay? That is so weird. Like, and to see how it actually affected how they voted. I mean, this really opened up a can of worms right here.
Let me make one thing real clear. This ain't about injunctions. This is about erasing the 14th Amendment with a smile. We thought the courts were supposed to be the last line of defense, the place where liberty stands tall even when presidents go rogue. But on Friday, in a 6-3 decision straight down party lines, the Supreme Court told us, nah, we good. They let Trump sneak his foot in the door to cancel birthright citizenship. And they dressed it up in legal jargon about equity and injunctions. Oh, but don't get distracted. The real target was always your rights, especially if you was born with brown skin, immigrant parents, or ancestors who came here in chains rather than visas. For a second, it looked like the lower courts might hold the line, right? 3 federal judges had already slapped Trump's executive orders down with nationwide injunctions, telling him loud and clear, you can't just rewrite the Constitution because you feel like it. Immigrant groups were celebrating. 22 states stood up in court. Even the appellate courts said, let this play out. Then SCOTUS slid in like a repo man in the night. Instead of ruling on whether Trump's executive order was flat out unconstitutional, which it was, they sidestepped it and went for the technical foul.
So wait, people really thought that African Americans were immigrants? Yeah, I know y'all lying. Don't immigrants go like on their own? If they, they go to a particular country on their own accord, because they may be trying to get away from whatever. We ain't come here because we wanted to be here. We still don't want to be here. Hell, we hoping that they maybe put us out and send us somewhere. Well, what do y'all mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Immigrants? Y'all know the story of how we got here? Do that make sense? Like, this world is so disillusioned about African Americans. We're descendants of Africa, but we've been here for hundreds of years. We're not first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation. Like, we've been here. We built this country. The foundation of this country is built by African Americans. We didn't come here because we want to be here. Like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all thought we were immigrants. Immigrants? Who? Where? Immigrants? I got papers to prove I ain't no immigrant.
Y'all know when Latinos and Hispanics be like, Black Americans are next? They really thought that Black Americans are immigrants. And that explains why they voted the way they voted. They tried to get us up out of here. But I gotta say to the Latino community, not only did your ESL classes, but the American educational system failed you tremendously. Because Black Americans are not immigrants and we're not going anywhere. And this is how ill-informed they are. They really think because they're in the middle between black and white that they're white adjacent. When that's far from the truth. It's only 3 categories that's broken down in this country. You have white Americans, you have non-whites, and you have Black Americans. The people in the middle, y'all just extras in this movie. The main characters are the white Americans and the Black Americans, and sometimes the Native Americans make a guest appearance. This country spent too much money, trillions of dollars, in painting Black people as the bad guys. That's the default. To even get rid of Black Americans. As sad as that may sound. And you know who's catching on quick, who's learning the game real quick? Africans and Caribbeans. That's why they're cosplaying as Black Americans. They're not cosplaying as Black Americans to trick us Black Americans. They're doing it to trick white Americans because they don't want to be deported.
So I'm going to throw my hat in this too and just say that I agree with all of the Black creators that are saying that all of these other folk thought that Black Americans were immigrants. And that when they was voting for Trump, they thought that we would be deported. And that does have something to do with why they keep saying that we're next, because they don't quite understand that we are not immigrants. Okay? The last time in American history that they tried to send Black people back to Africa, okay, was in the 1800s. Okay? This was after emancipation, when they were like, hey, those of you that want to stay here, y'all can stay here. And then those of you who want to leave, here's $100. That's what they gave them at the time, was $100. And y'all can leave. Okay? And some of them went over to Liberia, and some of them went to the Bahamas. The Gullah Geechee went to the Bahamas. Okay? Some of them. Not all of them. A lot of them still sitting in Charleston, still sitting on the Sea Islands right now. Okay? So, I think they didn't understand that. I realized further that they didn't understand that when they decided that the community they was going to come to ask for support in this here immigration shindig was the Black community, when we know the absolute least about immigration. Like, we don't even know anything about it. We don't know how the laws work. We don't know none of that. We don't have any experience with it at all.
So Latinos, y'all thought we was immigrants? So you mean to tell me y'all thought we was just over here chilling? So that's why you guys are saying that we're next. Man, we was first. And they still ain't stopped coming for us. So, hey, just don't worry about us, man. We gonna take care of us, and y'all take care of y'all, man. So we know how y'all look at us, man. And don't try to say that it's not that way, man, because we know it is. We know it.
Man, stop trying to convince these people that we need to stand together and all that. They ain't trying to hear that shit, bro. They've been betrayed so many times, bro. 1877, after federal troops pulled out of the South, bro. Betrayed. 40 acres and a mule, betrayed. You feel me? Jim Crow, betrayed. Redlining, betrayed. Every promise that this country has made to them has been a false promise. And now we need y'all to stand with us while we march. But leave them people alone. They ain't trying to hear that shit.
So I'm hearing how some cultures was saying that African Americans are next when it comes to getting deported. Not that I think anybody should be getting deported, but I think that's actually crazy to even think like something like that can happen, because it kind of goes to show how much y'all really know about African American culture in America, in that actually African American is literally just a label. It doesn't really speak to our lineage or where we're from, because whether you know it or not, most of us have Caucasian ancestors. If you know about how we got to this point in this country, a lot of our great grandmothers did not have the option on, who they had children with. So a lot of us actually have mixed and white grandparents. And I'm pretty sure all the other Black Americans on here can speak to that as well. Not only that, Native American grandparents, Native Americans who are actually Black indigenous people grandparents. So in order for them to deport us, it's kind of like they got to pull the thorn out of their own eye first. Because if we really got in our bag and got into our lineage, if they gonna deport us, they got to deport themselves too.
What do you mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Y'all thought Black people, Black Americans, African Americans, Blacks, us, were immigrants. The hardest lessons, clearly, it's going to take me a long time to learn and figure out is that other people just don't know what I know. I assume that a lot of people know what I know. That's why y'all keep saying that, huh? That makes sense, I guess. That we're next. Y'all think, what? How do y'all not know how long we've been a part of this country? Black people fought in the Crispus Attucks. Did everybody not, at my little church, every Black History Month, there was this huge thing. I'll never forget when I came to my grandma's house. It was a huge package, and it was all of these cards. They were ABC cards, but on every card, letter of the alphabet and an important person from Black history. And that was what we did all February at Sunday school. Like, we learned those cards. We would have to, and then we'd line up at like the Black History program, and we'd have to read them out loud. So I guess I just assumed, oh my God.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section, yeah?
Right.
A lot of, can I say, revelations have been happening this year. And you remember when we told you on our introduction, when we were talking about a lot of Africans on the continent thinking that Black Americans were immigrants. Mm-hmm. A lot of them still do, because we were part of those Africans before we educated ourselves on the matters, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And
right now, actually, when we started doing reaction videos, we came to realize that Black Americans categorize themselves in various groups, right? Because as we used to think, Black Americans are African Americans.
All of them.
Yeah, African Americans have their ancestry in Africa, right? All of them combined.
Yeah, but...
And people kept correcting us in the comment section saying, okay, some people felt offended when we'd call them African Americans, and others felt offended when we'd call them Black Americans. And I remember during this era, and others were okay with either. And I remember during this era, we were very confused as to how to address Black Americans or African Americans, And in the comment section, we'd see most Black Americans saying, Others would say they are foundational Black Americans, and others would say
Adults.
they were adults. And we were like, what is this? Who are the adults and who are the FBS? You know. And then we went on to the internet. Thank God for internet, and we did our own research, and we came to understand why there is this grouping of Black Americans in different categories, right?
Right. And that being said, guys, a good example that I can give you of this was, I think the moment when a lot of Africans started opening their eyes was the time when the case of George Floyd happened, and Black Lives Matter movement started going viral all over the world. That is the time when Africans started like really becoming aware,
getting an insight into the American, especially Black American community, because when George Floyd happened, I feel like that was the era where there was an internet boom in Africa, not just in Kenya, but the whole of Africa, right?
Right. Also, so when a lot of Africans were being talked to, a lot of them really sympathized with that situation. And I remember people really
most of them,
and I remember a lot of people really felt bad that the police could treat people like that based off of their skin color. And a lot of them, they used to say, Black Americans need to come back home. They should just come back home. We won't treat them the way, you know, they're being treated in America when it comes to skin color, you know, and a lot of them kept saying that they should come back home, because they genuinely believe like Black Americans had a second alternative. If you can't stay in the US, Africa can always be a second alternative. That was their thinking capacity, you understand?
Most of them still do think like that.
I won't lie to you, a lot of them still do think like that, because much as I can tell you, we're educated a little bit about the Black American history, there's still a big group of Africans who do not know about that said history. So that is how they're thinking. So I was quite surprised to think that even Latinos in America, they live amongst Black America, they eat amongst Black Americans, they work out, you know, close to Black Americans, everything they're doing in America, and they're moving with the right and entitlement, and they're thinking that Black Americans can be deported back to wherever they think they can be deported to, because in their minds they believe Black Americans are immigrants, you know.
Right, and you know, most Latinos right now are wondering what the devilry has, why the devil is attacking them in this manner, because right now it seems like they're the ones getting all the backlash, being that most of them are complaining that they were very loyal to Trump up until they voted him into the office and they supported his presidential bid, and right now it's looking like they're the first group who are being antagonized by the government. And I once mentioned something, guys. I do believe that for Latinos to be given this much hell in America is because data has it, and statistics shows that their numbers were really increasing. And you know, there is nothing as bad as, or there is nothing a white person fears more than the fact that they could be outnumbered in a society they think or they feel they control.
Right. And guys, you know, when the president is talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, right? We are all here to learn from each other. But if the president is talking about ending birthright citizenship and deporting people, I feel like he should be placing himself in that list or in that category.
With all honesty and fairness.
Yeah, just
because he was also born. Was he born in America?
He was,
but his great grandparents
are immigrants. You know,
his wife is allegedly an immigrant.
Right.
Meaning even his son is a. Oh my God.
Yeah. So if what I'm thinking, if that is how I'm connecting the dots, then it means that his family, his wife, should be placed in that category of people to be deported back to where they're coming from. Because the wife is also not is also not an American citizen. She's an immigrant. Look at how
they're trying to end naturalization and birthright citizenship.
Right.
And there is a brother who talked here. He was wearing a black t-shirt, and he said something very important, that if the whole of America allows for this to take place, it means that the 14th Amendment is the one that is going to be attacked. And what are we talking about, guys? For those of us, or for our audience who don't know what the 14th Amendment right talks of, this was signed in 1866 June, right? It was giving people who are going to, okay, not people who are going to America, but people who are born in America and people who've been naturalized, gained citizenship through naturalization, and also babies of slaves. All of these people were being given birthright citizenship, and this 14th Amendment, it protected their rights under the law, right? So this Black American brother felt that if whatever Trump is saying was allowed to take hold, it means that they're slowly coming to attack the 14th Amendment law.
Right. So guys, I don't know what you have to say about this, but I found this topic to be quite interesting, and I feel like these are the kind of issues that need to be talked about. But quite genuinely, how would you find such discussions being non-biased and they're held in channels like CNN and BBC? Because these are real issues. Exactly. These are real issues that are affecting
real people.
Exactly, real Americans, or should we just say people who are living in America right now, you know?
Right.
And, you know, this is where you say, be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. Latinos, they contributed a huge part to where America is right now. And right now, they're the most who are being affected by President Trump's regime, you know. And they might be asking themselves, how could they fall into this trap, you know, with their eyes wide open? I just have to say that racism is costly. We'll keep reminding people of that. Right. And Trump knew exactly where to press to get your votes. And he just played the tune that you all like listening to, and you fell right into it. It was easy to convince you because you also were not wishing, those ones who voted for Trump here, Latinos for Trump, you are not wishing the best for another group that do not look like you, you know.
Right.
So this, unfortunately or fortunately, should we just say their karmas really striked fast?
Yeah, it didn't take long in the gym. It struck right away. And you know, the most important question, guys, we're asking today, and it's not the first time you're asking this question. We usually leave it an open-ended question, right? And we're asking, like, with all seriousness, what can be done about this situation if changes are going to be brought to America, or should we just let the tides roll and we see where things will fall?
Yeah, you know, there's a reason why, I have to say, there's a reason why a lot of people voted against the rights of Black Americans, because you have to look at a president and their manifestos. You have to look at a regime that is going to take power and ask yourself,
you have an idea of how they're gonna govern the country for the next 4 years.
Right. And a lot of these manifestos that were being talked about sounded problematic from what it was looking like. It sounded problematic for one set of people, you know, Black Americans. Only that, I feel like God has been gracious this time. It didn't start with Black Americans, because it's difficult.
I do feel like Black Americans have been saved by a lot of nonsense.
Kind of protected.
You're kind of protected by a lot of nonsense that is happening right now, because they chose to stay out of it, and they chose to stay at home, watching from the sidelines, because ever since after the elections, Black American community has been provoked countless times when these lawmakers and other people in general thought that if we pass this law, it will bring them out of their houses to riot, you know. But Black Americans this time, they've worked with strategy and decided if any protest is going to be held by the Black community, it is not going to be physical. We're just simply going to be using our dollar to pass the message across.
Right. And then another question that one speaker asked that I feel like it's a very good question here.
Right.
If you look at how people got into America, Black Americans are the only group of people right now that didn't go willingly. Majority of them did not go. Okay, all of the Black American community, they didn't go there willingly. You know,
the ones that were there before America was called America.
Right. So therefore, another question you ask is, even if you want to deport these people, exactly to where are you deporting them if you can't even tell which family comes from the slaves you picked from West Africa? Which one did you pick from what country? From East Africa, from South Africa, from where? You can't really tell or
because even the ones that can trace their lineage, most of them have Togolese blood, Nigerian blood, all of this percentage mixed in one blood, which is quite interesting.
Exactly. So if you're planning to deport Black Americans, let's just say if that was even a possible thing to do, to which country would you? Because you're not just deporting them to Africa. There's 54 states in Africa, you know. So for that reason, Black Americans can never be deported, and they cannot be deported. And white people in America knows as much, and I feel like that is the reason why they always antagonize Black Americans, so that they can get them
to live on their own accord.
Right, they can do that, but the fact still remains, even if they wanted a system wanted them to be deported, they really cannot be deported, because to where are they being deported, you know?
Right.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. We'd really like to know your thoughts and opinion on this matter, right? And as usual, we want to thank you so much for watching our episode and always creating time to support our episodes, right?
Right. So let's see you on our next episode. And remember, guys, we're on the road to 200,000 subscribers.
Remember to subscribe if you have not.
Yeah.